All right, welcome. I am Jonathan Troen. So happy to have everyone here. I have a guest, Carol Banayos. I hope I said it right. I asked right before we went on how to pronounce it, so I would pronounce it right.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um, and okay, here's the truth. Normally, a lot of times when people do interviews, they get all the information about the person so that they can share this big, long introduction. I randomly met Carol online and had like a 2-minute conversation, and I'm just like, stop. I'm just going to interview you. I don't want to hear anymore. So this is Carol, and we're all going to learn about her together. Oh, I should say that I don't swear a lot. I don't use profanity a lot. I try, sometimes it slips out, but in these things I don't. There might be profanity here. If that does offend you, might not be the best. There won't be tons of it, but just to prepare you, there might be some. So Carol, welcome. So excited to have you here.
Yes. I'm glad to be here, and thanks again for taking the time to kind of interview me, so we can know a bit better more about each other.
Yeah. So imagine it's not our first date because I want to get deeper than that, but it's like our third or fourth.
Yeah.
And I wanna hear more about you. I want to hear your story. Share you.
Okay. Well, first, I to share me, I want to people to know who I identify myself as. So I always start off with saying that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience here on Earth, and that I grow and evolve based on experiences that I choose for myself, and then also the experiences that God or Source provides me to become a better version of myself each day. And I would define myself as a multifaceted expression exhibitionist, so meaning that I fully embrace all aspects of myself, which is at the light, the dark, the spirituality, the personal development, the adventurous, witty, intelligent, creative, sexuality, you know what I mean? Everything, anything that allows me to further step outside my zone. And my purpose and mission in life, or my purpose in life, is to help raise human consciousness, to help people reach their full capabilities and potential. So, and then to operate as their true authentic self. Because I believe when people operate as their true authentic self, I believe it will make this world a better place.
So true, so beautiful. So when did you know, or maybe you are always knew, when did you know or discover that you were a spiritual person having a human experience?
Well, it kind of all began where I went to this Tibetan healing yoga thing, right? And this was actually in 2009. So I went to this class, and then the instructor said, "Okay, everybody lie down and have your eyes closed. And if anybody has certain blockages, I'm going to come and work on you, right?" And so I was lying down, and all of a sudden, like there was a Tibetan bowl, like ding, right on my head, and everything was pitch black, but I saw the sound vibrations. You know what I mean? And then complete nothingness. And then spirit started to show me like certain images and all this other stuff. And I've never experienced anything like that. So I thought I was going batshit crazy, and I'm like, whoa. And then for 6 months, I kind of like, I don't know what's going on with me. You know what I mean? So things are kind of unfolding. And then I went to go see that lady. I'm like, what happened to me? I think I'm going crazy. And she's like, your third eye just opened.
Wow.
Yeah, but then I had all these different experiences as well. Like one of this guy from Netherlands came and did a teaching, and then he did this divine dance meditation. My whole body illuminated, and then illumination is like how I can describe it is, you have a light bulb, you turn the light switch off, and I saw my whole body just lit up. And then he did another exercise when we're like lying down in savasana, and I had an outer body experience where I saw him walking around the room, and I saw all these different light bodies. And then I realized kind of in my past until adulthood, there's always kind of this spiritualistic stuff that has happened to me, but I never really pinned it as that until I kind of really understood what was going on with me.
So I'm intrigued about this third eye opening. Like how do you know it opens? Because you hear in a lot of meditations, focus on your third eye, open your third eye, all that kind of stuff. But it's so out there to some of us. It's just like,
So if I can be able to summarize it in the statement, I kind of wrote a quote on it, but it's very simple. I see when my eyes are closed, and that's the third eye.
Mm. And so what, if you had to describe what you see, what do you see when your eyes are closed?
Okay, so essentially, like, I'll tell you another hilarious story. So I was talking to my mentor. I'm like, I need to become spiritually advanced, right? And then he's like, the only way to become spiritually advanced is you start doing psychic readings. I'm like, psychic readings? Like, what the fuck? I've never done anything like that, right? And so my business partner was like, okay, read me. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was like sitting in my chair. I was all sweating and like everything. And he's like, okay, just read me. And then so like, okay, I'm like, okay, fine. I closed my eyes, and then I saw a green aura around him. And then spirits started showing me like certain words and everything like that. And I had to interpret it, right? And then my friend, who also happens to be an energy healer as well, he's like, kind of read my aura because he's able to manipulate it. And then I read his, and I'm like, he's like, oh my God, it's the real deal. And then we went out to eat sushi afterwards, and they're like, hey, Carol, how many kids did that guy have over there? And I'm like, 3, right? And then we're eating, and in my mind I'm like, okay, I gotta confirm to him, I gotta confirm with him if this vision or whatever is true. And I said, hey, sorry to bother you, but I'm practicing my spiritual abilities. I just want to know how many kids you have. Because actually I don't have any kids. I'm married to that lady and I have a stepson. But I'm like, yeah, but how many pets do you have? And he says I have 3 Pomeranians, right? So because I saw 3 energy bodies. And then afterwards we went to like a spiritualist church, right? And they were doing an auction there. And then my friend put my name in there, and I'm like, I never even done a reading before. And then so these ladies were like fighting over that raffle ticket. So then that's how I started doing some psychic readings. And then it just has kind of grown and evolved. So when I started, I used to always do my readings like closed eyes, and then spirit would show me kind of past lives of the individual, and then certain things that continue on to their current adulthood. Now spirit shows me like a specific age in someone's childhood that again is a blockage in their adulthood, and all these different words and visions. And usually, like, to be honest, it's always on point.
So do you see people in the airport and on the street and just get messages about them, or?
Well, usually if it's kind of like an interaction, it's something I cannot control. It just happens when I'm kind of tuned into someone's energy field. So sometimes I can, it happens, and sometimes it doesn't. It's something I can't really control. But sometimes when I do get something, like I have to, deliver it, or else I feel the sense of unease, because I guess that the spirit is source using me as a vessel to deliver a message to someone to help them heal in a manner. And
So
then also it evolves too, because sometimes I can feel people's pain, and I'll be like, oh, are you hurting over there? You know what I mean? Like I felt it, and now I can point, and they're like, how did you know I hurt this way? And then also another thing too, like I would think of someone connected. My friend was in Brazil, and I had a long distance reading. Like I was going through all these different emotions this one night. And then when he came back from Brazil, I'm like, I have to meet with you and have dinner, because I had all these visions of, why you're out there, what you were doing and seeking. And I told him, he's like, you're exactly right. So it's pretty crazy,
all right. So I'm terrified to ask this question. Um, Does anything come up for you about me? I don't even know if I want to know.
I think we'll have to do a session
Okay,
on.
good, good.
Yeah.
I was afraid to ask. I'm like, if she does, I don't even know if I want the answer. But good. Okay. So now
Well,
I.
actually, like, okay, for you, like the numbers age 3 and 4 come up for me. So something in your childhood in regards to the age 3 and 4.
God, I don't even remember those years. So.
Yeah, it's sometimes,
Wow.
with certain ages, sometimes people don't remember. But if you can, I don't know if you're able to ask your mom or just kind of marinate on it a little bit. There's something that happened within that age range. So there's maybe if you don't want to admit it now, like there's some underlying I know you talk about self-love, but there's still some underlying insecurities that still lie within you.
Oh, tons. Are you kidding me? There's no doubt. That's the whole process of self-love. Look, we
Mhm.
teach what we need, right? Once I learned, if you want to learn something, go and teach it. I'm like, okay, well, I got to start teaching this. Yeah, tons of them. I manage them better, but for
Okay,
anyone that
so,
thinks you get to a point where all that goes away,
mm,
I don't know about that point.
So I think with the, all these kind of underlying like insecurities, those are kind of the stuff that you Uh, so I kind of see like this, right? So it's almost like everything that's below the surface, but you know how sometimes you see that what they're showing me, because you know how sometimes like there's that mountain that people show you. So there's that the conscious mind and then the unconscious mind, right?
Yes.
However, usually they kind of show the tip outside the water and then the rest of the thing below. But right here, I see the mountain is kind of below. So everything is still in your subconscious. So there's a lot of things
I'm
that
all below the water.
yeah, like cause that's the vision that spirit is showing me. There's yeah, so it's this is the water level and this is the mountain that I see below. So it's almost like you need to kind of dive deeper into all those insecurities, and that's what's going to be able to push you through and propel you in your career. Because as you may not know, these insecurities that those are the ones that kind of keeping you, and there's certain blockages, and some of those things are happening for you automatically that you don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I study them, I look at them, and I be with them. And, it was odd when I found out one day, just through practicing, there's no end to this.
Hmm.
Just kind of keep going and going, and you discover more and more and go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Hmm.
And yeah, to me, it's a huge journey. There's still tons and tons to uncover.
Yeah,
And
yeah, because like
it's a spiritual being. I'm discovering that spiritual being in this physical body, like you say.
yeah, because it's showing me another vision too. Like I see you as that young child, 3 or 4, and it doesn't actually look like it doesn't look like a being. It actually looks like a I don't know if like it not like a big Michelin man, but it's not white. It's dark, right? So it's you're like this big, and that Michelin man or this dark entity or whatever is this big. So it's something that made you feel really small, or something that made you feel really insecure, and that is something that is not allowing you to fully express
Hmm.
how you want to express.
Interesting. Well, thank you for that. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna sit with that. I'm gonna see who that Michelin man is. That's
Hmm.
very cool.
That's the only way I can like it's kind of bare Michelin man, but it's a dark entity.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. There, I have lightness inside of me, and there's darkness. I don't. It's funny because when I started on this path, I used to want to hide all that. No, it's only the light. You only get to see the light. Everything's good. Here's positivity. Let me come up with some good affirmations. And as I went on, I discovered, I mean, you even mentioned it before, the complete expression of emotions. It's like, no, it's okay. So there's some darkness, there's anger, there's sadness, and I think one of the big questions we all have is how can we just embrace it all and not just have good and bad emotions, but go, there's just a whole gamut of here, and a gamut here of emotions, and how do we allow ourselves to be with it?
So how you allow yourself to be, because I think there's a big kind of issue out there in the personal development world. Everybody says, okay, you have to focus on positivity. You got to focus on positivity. So, anytime you get a negative emotion, you got to focus on positivity. And, actually that is very dangerous. That
Yeah.
is very, very dangerous. And because what that does is allow you to sweep everything underneath the carpet, right? And so when you sweep everything under the carpet and you kind of like, okay, turn a blind eye to it, then you don't realize like, okay, why am I getting these feelings of depression, anxiety, and emotion? Where's this coming from? It's because of all those undealt with emotions. So whenever you guys feel that there's something, an angst in you, like something negative, or like something like, oh my God, this insecurity, like I don't even know why I feel like this, or this envy, allow yourself to marinate in that emotion. And then you can ask yourself, like when you get that feeling, what I like to do is a thing where you kind of change state. So in order, because I have this amazing quote that I love from Einstein. He says that the mind that created the problem cannot be the same mind that solves it. Right? So you have to get yourself in a different state. So like I would like usually with breath work to breathe in, 10 times, breathe in for 3 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, and release for 3 seconds. And you do that, 10 of them straight in a row. And then you can say like, okay, I feel this way. What is the message? What is what is the lesson that I need to learn? So sometimes maybe I'm like, oh my God, I feel insecure because I don't have enough knowledge in this area, or I feel insecure because I actually don't feel like I'm enough. Actually, I don't, you know what I mean? All these, there's certain things happen, or it'd be like, oh my God, I need to approach this person. I need to forgive, or maybe, oh my God, I'm so mean to myself. I actually need to forgive myself. You know what I mean? So every time something happens, you don't turn a blind eye to it. You kind of sit with it, marinate in it, and just try to break through that. Because the thing is like, in order to kind of break through the next level of you have to break through all your challenges. And the goal is not to kind of let yourself stay in that negative state for a long time. You can shift it from, a negative to a positive, but that positivity state is, you only get there when you actually go through that whole process. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
yeah.
you have to go through the negative to get to the positive instead of, like you said, just shoving down. I mean, that Michelin man, what I
Yeah.
kind of vision it, and maybe it is something from 3 or 4. I'm not doubting that, but I'm going, yeah, it's the years of don't be sad, don't cry, shove all those emotions, and they've grown up into this huge thing. And
Yeah.
yes, I've dealt with some, and I teach that. I work on that a lot. Like, let's just be with this emotion. But it doesn't mean there aren't decades that have piled up that haven't been dealt with. They're there. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you have to be able to, like, now that you're able to like interpret that, like, yeah, it gets bigger, 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 bigger. So you have to be able to start like, slaying that monster. You know what I mean? What is that saying? Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You
You're
know what I
right.
mean? Not that
Exactly.
I'm condoning. I don't eat meat or chicken or anything like that. I'm not condoning you guys to eat an elephant, but it's just interpretation. If you were to eat one, you don't ever do it, but it's just analogy, metaphor. You eat it one bite at a time.
Yeah, I love that. Too many of us are trying to go from here to whatever that there is. First of all, you want to go here, not there. It's all in here. But yeah, it's one bite at a time, one step at a time.
And then also another thing that I discovered is that there's this one huge big uh, insecurity that if you were to kind of focus on healing that aspect of yourself, it's connected to everything else. So that your insecurity, what they're showing me, it's really tied to your enough. So not being enough, your self worth, and all that other stuff. So
That's the only insecurity.
huh?
I mean, that's
No,
ultimately the only insecurity. I mean,
no,
I can name others, but there's one line underline insecurity, and it's
not
I'm
enough.
not enough. That's it.
Yeah.
I own it, and
Yeah. So now, like Jonathan, what you need to do, that is the one underlying thing that it attaches to all those negative, like big monster, right? So if you're able to kind of be able to foster and facilitate a habit that is, it makes you shift your focus of not being enough to focus on being enough. So that is something that you need to put in your self-love practice. And you know what I mean? Whenever you think of not being enough, like you have these states or affirmations that you say, but and you can do it that way. But what I would do is that I would wake up in the morning, kind of set a meditative practice and being like, I'm amazing, I'm worthy, I'm a gift to humanity, so that your focus goes to that rather than not being enough. And then you'll see that if you make that part of your daily practice, then it's like, whoa, focus goes where energy flows, right? So you'll be able to create that new habit. And surely you'll kind of see that. I'm like, whoa, you know what I mean? Things are kind of shifting. I'm like, whoa. And you realize, I'm like, did I even really kind of think about this before? Did I really think about that I was never enough more? How is that possible? Right?
I love that, and I hope those of you that are watching really are listening to that, because in terms of the people I work with, that's the number one thing. And sometimes we have to get through some layers, but it's I am not enough, and I know that many of you can resonate and hear what she's talking about. So now you have to take that. Now you have to start applying it in daily, like
Yeah,
like like
and there's
Carol's
one thing
saying.
that I want to see as well. Like I don't like I study psychology. So I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist or whatever. But however, since um, I do feel really blessed that Spirit has allowed me to uncover my abilities, because a lot of the people that I'm talking to, they spoke to so many different professionals and they can't get to the root cause. And because spirit I allow them to flow through me, I'm able to pinpoint usually a certain aspect of that individual that they're not aware of, that is really the key that they need to kind of transform their life and push through. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, I want to know more about that group. It's what you mentioned when we first started speaking. So tell me, tell all of us about this group that you created.
Okay, so like I created the Wake the Fuck Up movement. So that's pretty much for people who want to
And
kind
just
of
pause. Everyone listen to that. Wake the fuck up. It's the Wake the Fuck Up movement.
yeah.
Big. Like, pause. That's big. All right,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, so essentially, like, I created this group because I find that a lot of people are alone in this journey, right? And it's to focus on personally and spiritually developing yourself, and a lot of people that, because all of the stuff that I've done has been offline, so in person. So now I'm going to take it online and kind of grow this movement as big as I can. So I'm going to be bringing on people, you know what I mean, that I believe that have the skills and abilities to kind of touch people's lives and talk about what their wake the fuck journey is, certain life skills that they can share with others. Because I believe everybody, stories are so powerful, right? And I think that can be something that help propel someone's life in the right direction. So that's one aspect. But the other project I'm working on, which I think is just as important, is the Genius in You, Extracting Your Acres of Diamonds. So kind of working with entrepreneurs and
Wait, say that again more slowly. The Genius in You. Say it again.
so it's the passion project. Another passion project is the Genius in You, Extracting Your Acres of Diamonds. Right. So I think a lot of people,
Extracting your acres of diamonds. Okay, got
yeah,
it.
because I think a lot of people fail to realize how much of they have a genius in their mind. Like the reason why this project is so dear to me as well, because my dad passed away from cancer, and as I was able to hold his hand, as he took his last breath, and then I kind of wrote a quote about it. I said that, as I held my dad's hand as I held my dad's hand as he took his last breath, and that was both painful and freeing. Painful because he never got to reach his fullest potential and capabilities, and freeing because I don't have to make that same mistake.
Mm,
Right. And the richest
wow.
places in the world is in the graveyard. So I want, with me and my business partner, I want to help turn that around. I want people to realize that they are gifted to humanity, and to share their genius with the world to help make a better place. Because then a lot of time, just with my certain abilities, I'm able to extract that genius in a systemized way. You know what I mean? And help put it into a program, a book, and all the different things. And it's fully that individual, right? And I just kind of put a spiritual spin on it.
So how do you extract the genius out of someone?
Well, it's a simple conversation. So, because I have a coaching and consulting practice. It's called Business Snapshot: Your Roadmap to Freedom. So we help business owners transition from working into on their business. And what I found is, when I have this assessment, like, I'll do it with them, and then I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? I saw all these different ideas, and then I come up with a title, a subtitle, all the chapters, and all the sub ideas in that particular book. And so now when I go out, like, I'm like, yeah, okay, I publish books, and I do this and that. And some people just comes like, I want you to help me write a book. And so what people think it takes so long, I can just sit down with them, kind of tune into them, and I create a book for them. So I'll give you an example. So I went out to this place, and I was just speaking, and then I was quiet the whole time, and a lady came up to me, like, I want you to help me write my book. And so I just kind of looked at her information, I tuned into her, I came up with her book title, I came up with her subtitle, I came up with all of her chapters, and I created all the questions within that chapter to ask her, and then, yeah, finishing the book. And depending on the individual, if they know their shit, I can help them finish a book in 3 hours, 3.5 hours, or maybe sometimes 7.5 hours. And this one is taking a little bit of a process, because it's a spiritual thing. She needs to kind of meditate and let source kind of provide her with the information to relay to me.
So a lot of people seem to have this idea of separation. There's this spiritual world and spiritual being, and there's, and then there's the business world, and you can be connected to that. But you, it seems, have found where that connection point where they overlap.
Yeah, it's more of a integration, right? Because the thing is, since I'm really authentic with myself, and I have those abilities, I'm not afraid to say, you know what I mean, that I have psychic and clairvoyant abilities. Even with these people that I'm interviewing with this extracting their genius, you know what I mean? Like I'm talking to you, and then all of a sudden these numbers come up, you know what I mean? And then I say, oh, just to let you know, the reason why these are coming up is because I have psychic clairvoyant abilities, but they're not even bothered by it, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yes.
not.
So how do you get like the real business people? And no, I have this idea and I just want to turn it into something. How do you get that? How do you get them to buy into this truth that you have about, that
I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. Like I'm interviewing all these different people, and it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, and then they're from all around the world right now, and they have that same common issue of a problem is that they don't know how to extract it. And by having a simple conversation, I'm able to be like, okay, this is your unique genius, right? And this is the vehicle that you can help fulfill that genius. So I've been doing it over and over again. Like I said, I put it in the Get Ahead challenges, and Eben Pagans and James Mel, and people are just like kind of like responding to it. So that is already enough proof for me that like everybody has an underlying issue, and none of them are like scared that I have these abilities. They're like, whoa, you know what I mean? Because when they have that interview with me, they kind of think it's like so formal and professional, but it's not really that. It's all of it's different and unique. I can't have a cookie cutter approach because I can't control what spirit's going to do. All I know is that each interaction I have with each individual is all uniquely different, and all the message is unique to them.
So describe spirit. When spirit comes through you, what does that mean? How do you know it's spirit? How do you feel that?
Well, it's almost like I can't even say it's a sense of feeling. It's a sense of knowing. You know what I mean? It's because the thing is, for me, I don't think there's any separation, and I think between mind, body, and spirit, it's who you are and who you realize you are yourself to be. And so when you really can really embrace yourself holistically, there's really no separation. The only thing is that I've allowed myself to be a clear vessel, and they just kind of come through me whenever. It's not, like I said, it's not something that's forced. It's not a feeling. It's just a knowing that I'm more than this physical suit, that I'm integrated with everything and everyone.
And now I know you had that kind of waking up moment that you described at the beginning. Are there things you need to do on a daily basis to keep this vessel clear, or once it got clear, that was it? Now you have access.
I have a ritual every morning. So I do my attunements to kind of raise my vibration. I have affirmations that I say, and I am in meditative practice. Sometimes I meditate for half an hour, sometimes straight to 2 hours. It all depends. You know what I mean? Whatever feels right at that moment. So I don't really kind of have a strict kind of way that I do it. And I spend a lot of time, because a lot of people are scared, again, spending time with themselves, but I'm not scared of that. Like I love spending time with myself because it gives me a lot of time for self-reflection and to kind of really know myself better. You know what I mean? And I'm constantly asking source to provide me with the tools to become a better version of myself. I never asked that life be easy. I asked that life provide me with the tools to kind of deal with any hardship.
Mm. That's a beautiful difference that you highlight there. That's really powerful. And I
Mhm.
also want to highlight for people listening what you said. If for those of you that are afraid to be with yourself, um, there's some work to it. It's okay. Nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, but you know that it's something to look at. And it doesn't just mean introverted, because some of us will like to be alone, but then with the TV, with the radio, with music. But I mean, just being with yourself. And if that is a difficulty, Carol's pointing out, and I certainly back that up. I believe it's true that we need to be able to be in a place where we can see ourselves,
Mm.
see the inside of ourselves, not just what we see in the mirror, but go to a deeper place with ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I know that you have to go, so I'll cut it here. How can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more?
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me, do you want to explore more and understand more of who you are and your being and your place in this world and how you can better serve humanity, just hit me up on Facebook. It's Carol Banayos, so Carol, last name spelled Banayos.
Awesome, and I'll put that somewhere in the links, down, up, around. There'll be links somewhere to that. Um, any final message for us? Anything we should know as we leave this conversation?
Yeah. So the message that I have, and which I always say always, is to always remember to treat others with love, kindness, and compassion. But when I say this, I want you guys to extend that to yourself as well. So give yourself a little kindness, love, and compassion when you're going through your own journey, because we can be so hard on ourselves. So just give that love to yourself too.
Thank you so much. It is. I can feel that message, so important, especially now in these times. And thank you for taking the time with me, with all of us. And I'm looking forward to much more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Much love, guys. Okay. Bye, Jonathan.
Bye.
Bye.